I've always been intrigued by the dark web. While dangerous and harmful, the corners of the internet fascinate me. It's not all harmful. You just need to be cautious. I've stumbled upon certain things that I will never unsee. With all the things that I've seen, I still clumsy my way onto the browsers. I think people take interest into the dark and deep web because it's so ominous. I can't blame them. When I first went onto the dark web, I was like a kid in a candy store, spending hours a day scrolling through unspecified and undocumented forums. A bunch of random stuff for the most part. Government documents, questionable things being sold, chat rooms filled with ideas and stories. One day, I had stumbled upon a chat room for cannibals. I didn't think much of it, as naive as I was, and I decided to join it and see what those freaks were talking about. I knew that it was going to be weird, but I was intrigued. I was reading what the active members of the online community were saying, and they had been saying something about the right person that they would eat, what seemed normal for them. It felt so uncomfortable and unnerving knowing that these people had a desire to eat another human. Just the thought of it made me gag. They started going into more extensive detail about their desired prey. Keep in mind that I'm a 16-year-old girl. Being here probably wasn't the best idea. Here is just a snippet of what two people were saying on the community board. Person 1. I would love someone who was petrified in fear, to the point where they can't move and accept their place as a fine meal. Person 2. The thought of devouring sweet innocent prey intoxicates my brain, and to the point I can't resist the urge anymore. There had been more conversations like that, and even some where people's fantasies were to be eaten alive. It terrified me, to the point that I couldn't take it anymore. I tried clicking off, until I realized my browser froze. I struggled leaving the chat room, and in a panic, I tried shutting off my monitor. How stupid I was to let curiosity take over me. I froze. In seconds, I heard a car pull up. I'm sitting in my room, in the middle of the night. No one is home with me. My computer suddenly flashed back on. All of my information flashed on the screen. My name, my phone number, my social security number, credit card numbers, and my home address. Suddenly, the chat room popped up again. What looked like to be a live stream of someone walking up to a house. I couldn't recognize it because it was pitch black. That's when I saw my home address. The unknown dark figure started walking faster and faster. The chat room was filling with excitement and anticipation on what was going to happen next. The camera went black. Seconds later, I heard a loud thud coming from somewhere in the house. I was very aware that I was home alone in the middle of the night. I quickly get a baseball bat stashed in the corner of my room and hide in the closet. The only light filling my room is from my monitor. I keep a close eye to see the direction of the camera, the chat room filling with more and more people. The camera quickly flashes to a desolate hallway. My hallway. My door is locked. The chat room is going insane. The camera is shaking. I hear the door handle rattle. The door opens and reveals my dark, low-light bedroom on the screen. This story is a strange tale. It's one of the most bizarre I've ever heard. Not so long ago, and not so far away, there was a man. He used to get up at dawn in the summer months to avoid the heat. He used to enjoy the stillness and quietness and the peace of the early mornings. On this particular morning, he packed his bag and left the house. After taking a deep breath of fresh air, he noticed that something was off. He has always liked the stillness, but it was too still. No breeze was blowing, no bird was singing, no stray cat was walking around. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was like the whole world was put on hold, frozen still in time. He shook his head to get rid of this odd feeling and took a step towards the road. While doing so, he kicked a pebble. The little stone landed on the asphalted road. It sunk into the road like a pond. Puzzled by this, the man could not believe what had just happened. Slowly, he got closer to the street, and it really seemed to be liquid, as if the asphalt had been replaced with water. Dark, almost black water. He could not see the pebble. It must have been deep. Out of curiosity, he touched the surface, and indeed, it was like water. Amazed, he reached into it, dunking his whole hand into the street. It was cold, and it kind of tickled his skin. He could not make out the bottom, and again, put his hand in and tried to figure out how deep it really was. His wrist was underwater, then his forearm, then his elbow. How deep does this go? His whole arm was in the water, and he could not feel any bottom. Something very strange was going on. The street was some kind of river, but still, not moving, and deep. So very deep. He chuckled in disbelief. Then there was a movement in the water. Something pale and long slithered through the water. The man tumbled a step back. What was that? It must be huge. Full of fear, but mesmerized and curious, he got near again and stared into the abyss. Deep down, he saw something again. Or maybe he didn't. It was hard to tell. The water was so dark and so deep. Maybe there was nothing and he was dreaming. But maybe there was something in there. Something lurking. Something waiting. He could not tell, and he could not look away either. Trapped as he was, he got on his knees and focused on this anomaly. Something was pulling him. An unseen force was luring him into the waters. Half he was being forced, and half he was going willingly. First his feet, then his legs, then his torso, and lastly his head. Deeper and deeper down, swallowed by the darkness, he sunk into the street. Never has anyone heard of this man again. He was missed, but rarely spoken of. The Sunken Man. Tina got out of her bed excitedly, put on her slippers, and went downstairs. Her mother was waiting for her in the living room. "There's my birthday girl. Happy birthday, baby," her mother said, as she embraced her with a big hug. "Is that my present?" Tina said, eyeing the wrapped present sitting on the sofa. "It might be, but first, you were eating some breakfast, young lady." "I'm not hungry." "No breakfast, no presents," her mother said, and winked. Her mom cooked a full English breakfast, and for someone who wasn't hungry, Tina polished her plate clean, got straight up from the kitchen table, and proceeded towards the living room. She could barely hold back her excitement. Her mom had saved up her wages to buy Tina the Nintendo Switch she had always wanted. The smile on her face as she tore off the wrapping made all the sacrifices she made worth it. A daughter's happiness is worth more than money. "Are you excited for your party tonight?" her mother asked. "I'm really excited. You have a special guest coming tonight as well." "Really? Who? What is your favorite cartoon?" "It's not a cartoon, Mom. It's anime." "Okay, sorry. Anime then." "Oh my gosh, is Pikachu coming?" "Yep, at 5 o'clock. "Yes!" Tina began to jump up and down. Tina played Zelda on her Switch as she waited for her school friends to arrive and the party to begin. Her friends are going to be so jealous that Pikachu was coming to her party. She could not wait. 2 hours went by, and Tina's friends began to arrive, one by one. Eventually, her entire class was dancing away to Taylor Swift in her living room. The clock said 4:40 p.m., 20 minutes to go. As soon as the clock said 5 p.m., the doorbell rang. Tina and her friend stopped dancing and rushed to the door where her mother was greeted by someone in a Pikachu costume. To Tina and her school friends, this was the real deal. For through the eyes of a child, they see only the magic in this world. They do not see the darkness beneath. The kids all rushed to Pikachu like it was Black Friday. The parents watched, smiling, before going into the kitchen for some wine and a chat. The kids loved that yellow mouse you hired. Don't let Tina hear you calling it a mouse. Suddenly, one of the kids' father rushed into the kitchen in a panic. "The kids are gone," he said, trying to catch his breath. "I tried to chase them, but they were already in the van." "Oh my gosh, Tina," she said as she ran outside the front door. "Tina!" All of the parents started to rush out from the house, screaming for their children. All of their wide, tear-filled eyes fell upon the discarded Pikachu costume. Laying next to it was a piece of paper with something written in blood. "Gotta catch 'em all." Hey there, campers. I'm glad to see that you survived tonight's nightmares. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of the Campfire. And guys, if you have a story that you want to be read by the Campfire, send me a direct message on Instagram or submit the story on my subreddit. All the links are linked in the description below. Well, and that's all I have for you tonight, campers. And remember, stay haunted. I'll see you next time.